Episode 334.
You've got to throw some cold water on this situation. Start talking about nerd stuff.
You know, nerd culture is mainstream now, so when you use the word nerd derogatorily, it means you're the one that's out of the zeitgeist.
System activate.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker. It's a tech podcast. But we are a ton cooler than your typical geek.
You guys rock.
And now, here's Will and Trent.
No one listens to the radio. I wasn't even listening. I was listening to podcasts. Podcasts are great. Radio's boring.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Welcome another edition of NetHeads. My name is Will.
And I'm Trent.
If you want to take part in the program, you can one of many ways. The one we emphasize the most and that matters the least is Twitter. Trent, regardless, tell them about it.
Yeah, use the hashtag NetHeads, not unlike an almost uncountable amount of people who have been using it to up their chances to win the Vector Robot.
Yeah, that's right, Trent. You can do that with the hashtag NetHeads. Otherwise, if you're catching us live, we're on the Facebook, we're on the YouTube, we're on the not Patreon. I meant the Periscope, which is the Twitter one. And you can interact live with us if you catch us live, which you are right now. Trent, I'm going to be honest though.
Yeah,
I don't anticipate us having a large number of viewers today because although we do have my little buddy Vector here. Yes, he snaps to attention when you say his name. Did you hear that little recognition sound? Although we do have Vector available and ready here, we did actually give away on the live, as I promised on April Fool's Day, we gave away the Vector. We had a winner. Why can I suddenly not hear you, though? What did you do?
Winner.
There you
It's
go.
because I was taking a drink and I didn't want you to hear my mouth noises because, not an ASMR video. But if you'd like to hear some of our ASMR videos, make sure to like and subscribe for more. Just kidding. So who was it? Who won?
It's funny you mentioned that, Trent. I got to tell you that one of the things that, for all of the grief that the process did bring with people saying how they couldn't use it or this and that, as I had wanted, the methodology, the system, the giveaway software worked like a charm. It was literally one click. So when I did the live, I can't show it because it's over here. I have a special tripod that has an adapter on it so that it has a cell phone holder, so that way I could just be live via that. And then I just did the flip around on the sorry, I'm laughing because I'm looking at the dashboard and metrics. This week we've had 150 sessions. We're down 7%. Our page views are now down 15%.
Still, that's not bad.
I'm not complaining. It was the fun of the giveaway. So I was able to click a button, just said pick winner, give me one. Unverified people also won. Interestingly enough, the guy who won, he created his account on the day that the giveaway started. Although I suspect it wasn't really him. It may have been his girlfriend. Because she was part of the live on TikTok, and she's like, oh my God, that's my fiance. He had 13 entries, and I checked. They were all entries earned on the first day, never came back, total of 13 entries, and Travis Stevens, TM Stevens, I think, on TikTok, he was the lucky winner. So we did...
Congrats, Travis.
Yeah, right? And a good, wholesome name, just like Trent, with Trent and Travis. You guys should have a podcast, I think. It's Trent and Travis. Travis and Trent.
We'd call it TNT.
Dynamite. Sorry.
It's funny because a lot of times whenever, I get first introduced to someone and then later in that meeting or conference or whatever, they address me, Travis is always the go-to.
It must be the TR is my guess.
Yeah, I'm guessing, yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of. Well, Trent isn't also the most common of
No.
names?
No, definitely not. Like in pop culture, the only Trents I can think of are Trent Reznor and Daria's crush in Daria, the MTV animated series. Those are the only two Trents I know of.
Very nice pulls. The only other one that I fall to is Trent the Magician from Piers Anthony's Xanth series, I think is the name of it.
I have not seen that.
Yeah.
The other one that came to mind is from Swingers.
Oh, okay. Which one was
This
that?
my friend Trent. We call him Double Down.
Oh, okay. Very good. Very good. So anyway, and I have to tell you, the giveaway itself, too, again, a very rewarding experience because it was very exciting. And the only thing that I did do is I did draw it out until we got 100 people on the TikTok Live.
Nice.
Which the moment we hit 101, I'm like, all right, that's it. Boom, boom, let's go. Let's
Pull
get
the
it
trigger.
done. Because, and it was just nice to hit that target. So all in all, it was, honestly speaking, a pretty good experience. It was a bummer that it kind of crapped out for some people. But like I said, we are going to continue the giveaways. We may just title it Giving Away Will's Old Crap. I don't know.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, so one of the things, the next thing that I'll give away, I don't even know if there'll be interest in this, but a pair of Amazon Echo frames, the first generation. At least it's something you can tool around with. They don't have prescription lenses in them. At least those don't. The ones in this case do, because I'm a nerd. The only thing I got to say, though, with the way they look, it kind of bums me out because it looks like I'm ready to go hit the casinos in South Florida when I put these on. I'm just missing my fedora from up there.
I wouldn't go that far. I think they're rather stylish. I obviously am a fan of the thicker frames.
Yes, well, that's because you understand that that when it comes to frames, size does in fact matter. I gotta say, I really like my new frames too. I know we haven't really discussed them much, even though they are, interestingly, a little bit heavier than my previous frames. They feel lighter. The only thing that I don't know how to get away from, and if anyone in the audience can help with this, they do leave a rather nasty indent on the nose from the nose pads, like bruising. And the only thing I've really seen to counteract that, interesting invention. It looks like a pair of eyeglass holders, but it actually is a weighted strap, so it lifts it off your nose just a little bit and takes that pressure off. Counterweight.
I was just gonna say you'd have to put more pressure onto your ears. Now, when you go into the optometrist, whenever I get new frames, and even when I've had them for a while, I go back in and I always have them just do a reshaping. I don't know what they do in the back, but it always blows because I've tried to reshape sunglasses and it ends very badly. Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, yours can do that without a machine and heating and molding.
Now that you mention that, I wonder if I was just able. I mean, they did. Look, the thing is, I went to my prescription during the pandemic of things, so the fitting wasn't exactly the best because I refused to take my mask off, and they didn't want me to take my mask off. So that was part of the hindrance. But one of the things they did do, and for those of you listening to the podcast, this is a great visual. Yes, I know what I said. He actually did turn them a little bit here, so that way you can see they do flare out a little bit to kind of align with the meatiness of my dome. And now that you mentioned it, I just went ahead and applied a little bit of extra pressure to try and get a little more lift off the ear to see if that will take care of it. We'll see.
Yeah.
By the way, Trent, the chat is alive and well on the YouTube. We've got Evie and Zach and Michelle and Sean. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for participating. We're talking frames and glasses tonight on Tech Talk. Not really. But that is one of the things that kind of bums me out. I'm hoping that is the easy solution. But I am at the point now where one of these days after lunch, I am more than likely going to be going back to the optometrist to do exactly that, to get a little shaping done to see what we can do to alleviate it. Because I've already, hi, Amanda. Welcome back. Welcome from TikTok. I have done everything I can to turn them in. And I don't know that there's anything else I can do. So that, as they say, is that. Trent, the title
Yes,
of
sir.
tonight's episode, I already picked one in advance because why not? Sony PS5'd me. And the reason why I picked that title isn't because I have a PS5, although I wish I did, although my reasons for, very stupid. But it's because I have a Nintendo Switch sitting here on the desk. The only thing that happens is that my Vector apparently is in love with it and obsesses about it and runs out of power either looking at it or himself in its screen. Not sure which.
Okay. I thought it was like in love with it, like it was trying to like make little Switch Vector machine babies.
I want one now that you mentioned that. I want that.
Kind of right?
I want that hybrid baby. I want the gaming system that can follow me and give me answers. So obviously I'm not a really big gamer. Like, I got this with the intention of doing more like getting into streaming on Twitch because, I'm not neglecting my family enough. Let's take it a step further. But in this particular case, when I got the Switch, it's because I was following an account on Twitter called Cheap Ass Gamer, something along those lines. And they provide great updates regarding trying to find a PS5 or at the time a Switch. As a matter of fact, my entire journey on Twitter actually goes back to the Nintendo Wii because I joined Twitter specifically just to follow an account that provided updated information in your area because people were like doing a group chat collab through it, saying where and when it would be available.
Yeah, which I mean, harkening back to those glory days of live feed Twitter, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it wasn't trying to guess what was relevant to me, but like you could just follow, like, oh, I can see right now someone posted, and I could go pick it up.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
order it.
Back in the day. So I was following Cheap Ass Gamer, and earlier today they were talking about GameStop posting up PS5 bundles that would more than likely be available. I think at the time they were speculating maybe 2 p.m. Eastern time. And that's why it's because I can't believe that we are in, well, first of all, I can't believe we're in April, but I can't believe we're in April and we are still having these PS5 stocking issues.
Well, and it's interesting too, because I almost wonder if it's just like all manufacturing in general. Because just today I had multiple orders of vinyl records that just arrived. I pre-ordered, months ago, and they all had very different release dates. But I just wonder if things are starting, the gears of entrepreneurism and capitalism are finally starting to roll again, to where manufacturing and distribution is finally starting to happen. That's been on hold for so long.
Yeah, I thought it was a parts and supply issue and perhaps an illness manufacturing issue, but honestly, first of all, somehow, even though there appears to be this gigantic demand and lack of supply, within the same time frame as of February, Sony had actually sold more PS5s than they did PS4 comparatively at release time.
Really?
Yeah. And
that is shocking to me because the hype around the next generation of console wars, I feel, was so much bigger at the last release than it has been for this one.
I would agree, but they were still in competition with Xbox at the time. Xbox got its stuff out there, but honestly, everything I have read has said that the honest supply issue has just been that they didn't really anticipate the demand.
Huh. Interesting.
How you could be smack dab in the middle of most people not leaving their goddamn house and not expect everyone to want a new gaming system.
Well, especially after seeing the demand for the Switch, right? You should. Granted, I understand different products, different demographic, but the need that it fills is very similar.
You're right. You are definitely right. And getting back to the Nintendo Switch of things, that too was a hot commodity item, but at least obtainable, and definitely something that became very popular during the lockdown. A lot of people wanting. I mean, honestly speaking, douchey me, I mostly bought one just because there was a demand and I had the opportunity to get one. Right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It has paid off because the kids do enjoy Mario Kart, so occasionally we play that. But you know, I'm also one of the few people that still has the Xbox 360 hooked up to the TV, and the kids are playing Just Dance 2018 still.
Dude, it's funny because just last month, excuse me, for a long time, one of the best scrolling brawler games ever made, in my opinion, the Scott Pilgrim video game was just released across many platforms, including the Switch. But prior to that, it had a small window that it was available on the Xbox 360 store, and then it got taken off. And for years, people have been calling for it to come back. And I have kept my 360 in working function connected for that game alone. Now I don't need it as much, but yeah, there's still a demand for some of those games that are out there that they just haven't ported to anything else.
Speaking of demands for video games, I don't know if you heard about this, but apparently some guy back in the day bought one of the versions of Super Mario Brothers for their kid, a Nintendo cartridge, put it in their Christmas gift, put it in their desk, forgot about it. 34 years later, you know, however they value them, similar to comics, I think it had like an 8.9 rating or something, just sold for $660,000. I don't know.
NIB mint type like, so it was unopened.
Yeah.
Holy shit balls, man.
Who the hell is I mean, I didn't read. I know I could. We always talk about this. We talk about the news in a fashion. We're kind of like the people that read a headline and just pull the element we want from it. Don't really read the article, and then we start spouting off our madness about it.
Yeah.
We're kind of like that here. We will note the headlines and just go, God damn. But in this particular case, that one really, like, I'm just gonna speculate right now that it is either somebody with a massive Nintendo collection, or it's somebody that's around from the original development of the game or the like. Somebody with a big passion. I don't know. I mean, like, without actually finding out any information, let's speculate. Who do you think spent this kind of money?
Oh man, so it's really interesting because I mean, at that price point, I think it's too high for a speculator to have picked it up for resale. And just out of my own, cultural influences, man, I see there are so many people my age who have come into money now, and that's the thing that they've chosen to collect, right? That's what they've put their hobby into. I think of guys like AJ Styles, a professional wrestler with the WWE. He is like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs when it comes to collecting vintage and obscure gaming relics. Like whenever they go to Japan, his Instagram stories are just him in like these, really obscure gaming shops where he's buying like new in-box Jaguar systems. Stuff like that.
Interestingly enough, because I have now actually looked, it is the Super Mario Brothers, the original. It was rated at 9.6 on the Scoville level. No, I'm sorry, that's the Hot Ones spice thing. But apparently, it is one of the ones. Part of the reason why it came in so high is not only is it the finest copy known to have been professionally graded for auction, but it's also one of the earliest copies of the game. Apparently, it was released in '86 with one version of packaging, then mass-produced in 1987 with different packaging. So, for you and I, and as the owner of a comic shop, and as a guy who can appreciate limited-run things, it's like, oh, well, that's why that particular variant is desirable.
Yeah. Especially if there's like a story, right? If there's a story as to why they changed the packaging, that makes it even more valuable as people will now attach like some sort of cultural meaning to that specific version. It's like when they find something a problem with the printing or something in a comic, and so they have to reprint it or whatever, the flaw becomes more valuable than something that's pristine.
Yeah, actually, if I don't even know if I still have it. If I still have it, technically speaking, I have a DVD copy of Little Shop of Horrors that I convinced somebody at a Suncoast to sell to me. It came in, but they weren't allowed to release it because apparently either some of the extras or it's because they included footage from the original movie Little Shop of Horrors. It had some content that was not authorized for release, so they weren't allowed to sell it.
As part of like the EPK within the DVD.
Yeah, exactly. Some extra within there wasn't, or it was the black and white alt footage that didn't run. It was something that they did not authorize either for license on the DVD or something along those lines. So they weren't allowed to distribute it. That's the closest I have to anything unique. Aside from the fact of, I think, an Amazing Spider-Man number 300, which is the first appearance of Venom, perhaps, in my garage, but that was never wrapped appropriately, and like there was debris from a roof replacement in there, and it's got some ink bleeding between the pages and stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
Do you have anything that would be considered like a limited run, limited edition, rare?
I mean, yes, but to such niche audiences that it will never have that much value. And honestly, as far as like, and what that is probably records. But it's all, things that I've backed through like pre-orders. If we get this funded, we'll press this many records. And so, it's a limited color of like maybe 500 records. That were ever made, but there's maybe 400 people that ever wanted it.
I can relate a little bit. I have this, which is the Plus One America podcast. Interestingly enough, on
Some
vinyl.
Of the best album art ever with the homage to American Gothic right there. So good.
Yeah, and actually. In the one horrible place to even store it, my garage, one of the areas that gets to the highest temperature in the house, I also have the first run of Tell 'em Steve Dave's podcast vinyl.
Right.
And I recently did, it wasn't warped last time I checked, but I did have to open it to find out because apparently there was like a limited edition run red colored disc. And I did not have that, just so you know.
Yeah. That's been a really cool in this kind of like resurgence of vinyl collection. That's been a really easy way for people to, well, at least as far as manufacturers go and the artists to give incentive for different pressings, is that they'll do different colors. And then also for resellers to be able to quickly suss out which version is which just out of the color. I mean, you go back and start looking at like differences between like even like Beatles records, which was it stereo or was it mono? Because the pricing resale now is so different that you actually have to like look for special like insignia and stuff. Now it's just super easy because it's just a completely different color.
And the one thing I haven't explored, Trent, and again, it's I'm amazed, technology. I'm coming to you for expertise now. How does one even go about acquiring a turntable nowadays to be able to play your vinyl?
Oh, sir.
No, it's SIP now, Trent. Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Different topic. Go ahead.
Yeah. So for gosh, I think I bought my first personal turntable in like maybe 2007, and I just went to Best Buy. It was the one turntable they had, a Sony automatic turntable, USB turntable, and USB meaning that if I wanted to, I could plug in a USB interface and record versions of my music. I never did. And it was okay. It was always just, it was fine. I definitely never thought that the sound was comparable to what I was getting digitally.
You shut your mouth. You shut your stupid mouth right now.
Here's the thing, right?
Okay.
And so I was never one of those like fanboys that was like, oh, the analog signal interprets the frequency the way it was meant to be recorded, blah blah blah, right? Like I was always like horseshit because I can listen to, you know, a wave file and it sounds way better than what I'm listening to through my turntable. Fast forward, what, 13, 14, 15, 16 years, and I finally upgraded to a and well, I can't say high end because a high end turntable is like $2,000, right? So I would say a mid level turntable, and just this week I can finally notice the difference and say, oh my god, the analog signal is actually better. And so yeah, you go into a record shop now, you can pick up a turntable fairly easily. Especially if you're looking for, you know, just something you're not worried about, that you just want the novelty of playing records or whatever. Yeah, you can pick something up. Super cheap, super easy, quick and done. But if you're looking to drop some coin, do some homework, and on top of it, it makes it even more frustrating is that not only did you have to buy the turntable, let's say at $600, but now you've got to buy the cartridge and headset for it. So essentially the needle, which can range anywhere from $100 to just as much as you spent on the turntable. Then you've got to get an amp or receiver to then power the sound that's coming out, and then you've got to look into speakers that are at the right impedance so that they will interpret the sound correctly. Like, it's a whole effing deal. Luckily, I've just kind of like piecemealed it together over the years to the point where I feel like I have a really enjoyable setup now. But if I had have looked to get into it right off of the bat, no way in hell I'd do it. No way. Way too much.
Yeah. By the way, in the chat, Evie pointing out that almost every vinyl I pre-order takes 5 to 6 months to get to my house after the album's street date. And Michelle pointing out I got a really great record player from Best Buy about 1.5 years ago. So apparently not as obscure as I thought it would be.
Yeah, and now it's definitely an item that people carry now. Whereas even just like 15 years ago, it was not something that you could just go into any, you know, electronic store and they would have in stock. Now you can pick up most everyone, and it is a great introductory turntable, the Audio Technica 120 USB. It's a good price, and it works super, super well. And a lot of places, I think even Walmart carries it. So, you know, it's definitely accessible now.
Who would have thought we would have been talking about vinyl tech? But I'm not surprised, because I even remember listening to a satellite radio show, and at the time in my car they were playing a demonstration. It was I think it was the difference of Stairway to Heaven, and it was part of Stairway to Heaven, and they were playing the original vinyl recording, something sampled from the original vinyl recording and recorded into a lossless format. So
yeah,
it's not losing anything in the recording, whereas MP3 is it uses a specific codec, so it's a compressed signal. You lose certain parts of the sound, and they showed the difference between it, because basically, let's face it, Napster killed and ruined everything. So the difference between the two, there are people that listen to music today that are not hearing parts of the original elements of the song, and so in that respect, like, the only reason why I would get into a turntable is if I was able to get my hands on some nostalgia vinyl, if you will, nothing reproduced, but like some of the old stuff, and then to be able to resample it for playback and listening locally, to be able to hear that. Especially, you know, the older I get, the more the tinnitus is flaring in, and man, oh man, you know, every bit of sound that's good in quality is very, very important to me, because, you know.
I think about that a lot.
What?
Especially when I'm editing video and stuff, and like, like something sounds weird to me. I'm always like, is this because like I have hearing damage? or okay, I'm going to listen to it through the monitors now. Take the headphones off. Okay, that's not and just try and troubleshoot it. But it's funny because I think we may have talked about this years ago, but Neil Young was so passionate about Neil Young of you know, rock and roll fame, was so passionate about this loss in music quality. He created a short-lived digital media player company called, I think it was pronounced Pono, P-O-N-O, which was aimed at playing like audio at the absolute highest quality, but the price to get into one of the players was so much that no one was able to really get behind it and support it.
And Trent, I believe it was an interview with him that I heard where he was talking about the loss of signal and the importance of vinyl and blah blah blah.
Okay.
So
Which would make sense as to why he would he would be behind it. Anyways, it's super interesting. And it's always interesting to me too, like with Bandcamp, for example, when you do buy a digital album, it'll give you the options. How do you want to download it? Do you want it as an MP3 at this level? Do you want an MP3 at this level? Or do you want lossless wave? And I just think who would ever want just the MP3? Like, you know what I mean? It's not like storage is a big problem anymore.
Johnny,
not
Johnny Q Public would be, man, there, because they don't know any better and they don't care, Trent.
True, I guess, yeah.
That's
I guess
why.
you're right.
But you see, that's the other. If I were to begin on that journey, then that would also. That's why I'm like, I would want classic vinyl, because like even I'm not aware of the technology used in modern recording studios. So because of that, I would have lots of questions about the way the music was actually recorded as well before I would care if vinyl would be important to me. You know, how was it? Was it still digitally mastered? How was it digitally mastered? Was it in a lossless format? What was the equipment used to pick up the sound? That type of thing.
Well, and it's not unlike the digitization of film, right? Like whether you're getting an actual Blu-ray version that of frame by frame scans from a print versus something that was just ran through a codec machine that digitized it from an analog signal. Night and day differences. To wit, speaking of, famous people who are getting behind these old mediums, Quentin Tarantino has invested a lot of money into, I can't remember which theater it is in LA, but a theater that is trying its best to only curate showings on actual film, so that people are getting the way it was meant to be viewed.
I have been in that theater. It's the New Beverly Cinema, Trent. I think I was there for a screening of, I think Red State, maybe.
Okay.
But that wasn't. I don't think that was on a print. Although there is a print of Kevin Smith's Red State, and it's specifically because I think Quentin wanted to be able to watch it because it had Michael Parks in it, so they produced a print. Just for Quentin to be able to watch it, because dude's got, a full-on projector in his home too.
Yeah. Man,
anyway,
how would it be? Well, you've worked as a projectionist, have you not?
Oh my gosh! I mean, not directly, but way back in the day when I used to work at movie theaters, every one of the managers also had to be trained as a projectionist, so that. I think it was after they successfully busted the requirement of a union projectionist to be in the booth. They figured, hey, we'll teach these teens how to go ahead and manage film too. But back then those were 35 millimeter prints. So yeah, at the time I knew how to properly thread a projector. I knew how to properly splice a piece of film in the event that the film broke. How do you get back into the correct amount of frames? What's the methodology?
Yeah.
And really, if you ever had to pay to actually fix like 35 millimeter prints, there's something very old timey about it, because there's literally a gate piece of equipment that you would attempt to line, do the splice, and then lay down a piece of, essentially you fix it with packaging tape, to be honest.
I was gonna say, is it like Scotch tape?
Mm-hmm. That's kind of what it is. It's kind of stuff. But yeah, back in the day I did that. But yeah, I mean, I think everybody always dreams of having a home theater. But honestly speaking, in this day and age, if I couldn't just like choose something from the digital library, what a phenomenal pain in the ass that would be.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine? And especially if it was on a print on multiple reels. So not only are you having to set it up to watch it. You can't just sit and enjoy it start to finish. You've got to get ready to switch reels and everything else.
Oh, well, that in that case, what you would do, because the cans would get delivered with the multiple reels, and then, like, the projectionist would be responsible for assembling the print. So let me go ahead and connect, like, let's say it came into 3 cans. Let me hook up all 3 reels into one master spool to work from, which is why we always had the excuse of getting an early screening, so that way we could do a print review to make sure it was okay. So now you're watching Die Hard 2 days before release, but it's, you got to do it at 2 a.m. in the morning, which is why it's only a game for the young, my friend.
So, man, so growing up, the one theater in the town I grew up in, super old theater, built in like 1912, but very cool, right? Like huge screen, extremely vaulted ceilings, etc. But it always like just blew me away when we would walk in to go to the movies. Sitting by the front door, they always just had the metal cases that they shipped the reels in just sitting there, and I was always just like, holy shit, there's like 6 of them and they're all labeled one movie. Is that what it takes to show this? It blew me away as a kid.
Yeah, and they're always sitting there because that's the movie they were showing, and it's got to go back, and the other one's already been loaded, and they're like, we ain't got room in our booth for this.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
But you know what, Trent? One thing you do always have room for in your life: getting clean. Am I right?
Preach, brother, preach.
If there is any one thing that I love doing, it's my morning routine of taking a shower. And the reason why I love taking a shower isn't because I'm a disgusting, smelly beast. I'm not admitting that I am or not. But I thoroughly love my experience with my soap, Trent. Now, I love my soap, but don't get me wrong. I don't love my soap. Okay, I want to be right. I want to be clear. I'm all I'm talking about is getting clean. There's nothing dirty here. As a matter of fact, we'll talk about this later. I got the vaccination, Trent. I got my first shot in, but that's not important.
Okay.
I may have been a little late up on Saturday because of that, or just general exhaustion. So Sunday for the Easter holiday, I had to do all the yard work, so that way the yard would be presentable for the Easter egg hunt for Blair to do. There is nothing that feels better in this world after you've done anything, any type of labor, any type of work where you've been getting dirty, you've been getting grimy, the exercise, whatever you do. If there is anything that is amazing, it's the feeling of a good shower afterwards, that hot water, the thick lather, a nice creamy soap that gives you that deep down clean feeling. Duke Cannon Supply Company can do that for you. Go to netheadsonair.com/Duke and you can get free shipping on purchases over $30. I tell you, this soap is an amazing soap, okay? It lathers. They got all kinds of amazing scents. Proceeds of all sales help to support America's veterans, so another great reason to use them. And hey, if soap ain't your thing, but you're looking for shampoo or other personal care things, including Trent, beard grooming.
Oh, dude, groom it up. Don't look homeless. Learn from my mistakes.
Exactly. Get yourself a nice beard comb, but also treat yourself to beard oils and proper beard cleaning products. You don't want to use shampoo on your beard. No.
Use beard shampoo for your beard.
Exactly. Duke Cannon has it. So again, netheadsonair.com/Duke. Help support the show while getting yourself clean. It's just that easy. Thank you so much, Duke Cannon Supply Company, for supporting our troops, for making amazing products, and making my morning shower one of the things I look forward to every single day. Yeah, I did, Trent.
Congrats, dude. I want to hear about this because I have been trying like a monkey trying to impregnate a football to get scheduled for a vaccination, and it is just not happening.
Well, it does help that I live in California. I live in Contra Costa County within California, to be specific. Now, shortly after turning 50 years old, it was the same time. Literally, I think 2 days or 3 days afterwards, they announced people 50 and over would be eligible for the vaccine. So instantly I signed up. Then for a week, heard nothing. Then it opened up to like adults, certain ages or certain conditions. And Oh, that jazz. So then I went to the exact same form, signed up again, and Denise signed up. The cool thing is my wife and I were able to go get the vaccine on the exact same day at the exact same time. So that
nice.
was
Yeah.
great. But if anybody's wondering, we got Pfizer. Because, that's the thing now. That's the new thing. It's like, oh, you got the shot. Which one did you get, huh? What was it? Was it Moderna, the Pfizer? J&J? What'd you get? What was it?
I heard there's a Procter & Gamble coming out, huh?
Yeah, it's the Monopoly shot, Trent. That's what it is. You get the Monopoly shot now. So, you can get that. Maybe you can get the Uno edition. No. The funny thing, though, is I see a lot of people like on social media recording when they got their shot. But, man, when HIPAA regulations were in full effect where I went, because they're just like no photo, no video, no recording beyond this point. And I'm like, Look, I'm not going to compromise getting this free medication, so I'm not going to do a goddamn thing to upset anybody. And admittedly, like I said, I don't really feel that I had any side effects. It's hard to tell though, because they're like the most common thing is headache and you might be tired. And I'm like, so you're describing my Wednesday to me?
Yeah, I was just going to say. So you're just describing like a typical afternoon.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know what happened Saturday. Saturday I had grand plans, but it was also the day to take the dogs to the groomers because bougie. And so we did get up early for that, but I did get a normal night's sleep. And then I felt like I took like 2 or 3 naps. I just couldn't get motivated. I was tired, very cranky apparently. Then we picked the dogs up. So I didn't get anything done. I don't know if it was because of that or not. But I will say that other than that, no issues, no problems, no complaints. The only thing I am a little bitter about is, like I said, I didn't hear anything. And then in the following week, they like opened up the floodgates to like 18 and older. That's what I think the qualifier was. Now 18 and older. And I'm like, I had one silver lining for getting into the 50s.
Aging, right? Yeah.
And I had one damn thing, and that's what you got. And as a matter of fact, actually, I think I saw a news article, Contra Costa County, the one I live in. The San Francisco Chronicle had covered it, and they're like, yeah, one Bay Area county opened it up to 18 plus, and now they're overwhelmed because apparently, like the moment they opened it up, it generated 30,000 requests in the first either day or hour, something like that.
Dude, I believe it. The health department here in the county I'm in is only scheduling out 2 weeks in advance.
Mm-hmm.
And all the pharmacies in the area are scheduling out a month in advance, and everything's booked.
Yeah, and I'm starting to equate it everywhere else. It's probably like when you're nowadays trying to get an appointment at the DMV. Things are so far booked out. Like you have to, every morning you got to get up at a certain time to try.
Yeah. Well, and to exacerbate problems here, the pharmacies I think are doing a much better job, but the health department is just using I think it's called Jot Form, which is like this free software or web cloud-based data collecting program. So it's putting you through like 4 extra clicks to get there, and then it'll give you a false positive on some things. Anyway, it's bless their hearts. And they're doing the best they can. God bless them. They're doing Galactus's work, and I appreciate it.
I know, man. I have the same feeling though, because it was either an Office 365 form that I filled out or a Google form. One or the other. But like I said, interestingly enough, I signed up, and then a week later they opened up to more. I just took the opportunity to sign up again because I trust no one. I trust nothing when it comes to technology. Denise signed up at the exact same time again, and then we both got the text message notifications or the emails within minutes of one another. So I have to wonder if my first sign up even got captured. That's what I question at this point.
Right.
But yeah, so I don't go back for my next shot, though. I think so. It was last Wednesday that I got it. I don't remember what the day was, but let's just call it the 28th. Yeah, or the 26th, one or the other. Who cares? Nobody cares. But now the follow-up one isn't until April 28th, and that's, I think, because of, like you said, the number of bookings. the place I went was like a community center that had been adapted for this, and I overheard one of the people working the location at the time saying that yesterday was the first day that they were doing it under like the new openings, and they had processed over 3,000 people.
Holy, in one day.
Yeah, which I'm not surprised though, because they do it in bulks by the half hour. And, then they just keep moving you in and out. The funny part, though, is that makes you nervous a little bit, is that, there's an observation that's supposed to happen afterwards. So basically, they're like, you go into the observation area, and they're like, it's self-observation. Set a 15-minute timer. If you get a rash, you feel dizzy, you do this, alert us. Otherwise, get out, Johnny Q. Public. You're done.
Right, yeah. Well, yeah, and that's been one of the points of misinformation that's been out about the vaccine in particular, is that for some people anaphylactic shock can happen, but it's not because of this particular vaccine. They would probably have that reaction to any sort of injection or vaccine in general. So it's precaution they take with any sort of injection is to sure you're okay afterwards.
Yeah, certain immunizations, vaccines, or like preventative shots you get when you're going to like third world areas and the like. Some of those shots I know used to have the same base as elements you find in eggs, so people with an egg allergy would have a reaction to it.
Right. Yeah.
I thankfully nothing yet, but I'll let you know after the second one. A good friend advised that you really need to stay hydrated for the second one, so I'm gonna. And Denise, to my wife's credit, she said the big thing was hydration as well. And so with the old Jar Jar drinks here, I was having, I probably drank about 2 gallons of water leading up in the days leading up to it, and even on the day. So I don't know if hydration helps, but
well, and I'm just going to throw this out there, okay? Perhaps that might have also led to your lethargy in the post days, because your body was wanting more water after having so much.
Oh no, Trent, I'm convinced it was the microchip. It was the microchip. Now, I haven't gotten my secret web access to my Illuminati materials yet.
Sure.
And I haven't figured out how to set up auto pay yet, but the tracking chip, I think it was just, probably the adoption of that.
Another point of misinformation, Will, folks, you would see a microchip. It's the nano chip that we need to be worried about.
Oh, those are already there. Those are in the aspirin I take. I'm convinced of it. Right? So anyway, obviously not anti-vax here. Fully supported, especially since I think one of the recent articles also announced, or a bit of news that came out today, at least for my area, if things keep trending in the state of California the way they have been, we may be able to, while still wearing masks, completely open up by like mid-July or mid-June or something, like June 15th or July 15th, one of the two.
Okay.
So that's a good lofty goal. It's a good target for. Hey, Trent, one other thing. Do you have the HBO Max? I'm sorry we keep going over this.
So I didn't, and I was very reluctant until the DC app switched over to Marvel style, where it's just comics, and then if you want anything that's multimedia, you got to go to video-wise, you got to go to Disney Plus. So I bought into the HBO Max at that point, and at first I was a little disappointed. Now, quite happy.
Yeah, I first of all, have you watched? I don't know why I'm at, but did you watch the Snyder Cut?
I haven't yet. No.
Okay, fair enough. I have. You really got to make sure your gaming arm for the Nintendo Switch is in play, and I think you'll enjoy it. Although I admit that I made that investment, but I think the last 5 minutes I didn't see, and there's a lot of good reveals there. As a matter of fact, I'm a big fan of the Ralph Report, and apparently on that podcast they broke down some of the news that another website had produced, and they're like 10% of the film is slow-mo or something like that.
Really?
Overall runtime, because Zack Snyder loves the slow-mos.
He does.
another thing that happened through the holiday weekend with some theaters opening up, because, you know, a lot of these movies are dropping in theaters where available, and
Right.
then on HBO Max at home. Godzilla versus Kong did decent box office for
Yeah.
pandemic, but honestly speaking, watching it here at home, I got so annoyed at how imbalanced the sound mix is. I've only made
Oh,
it halfway
no.
through.
Really?
Yeah, well, you know, the special effects sounds and everything and the music are really loud, and then it comes to
Yeah.
people talking and it gets really quiet, which, you know, like I said, the tinnitus drives me nuts. So,
Dude, that is such a that's disheartening for me because I had a lot of high hopes for this movie, and I mean, you and I are in the same boat of like noticing the audio, right? Like, and whether it's because we work with things around audio or our hearing's not as good as it
well,
used to be, it makes a difference. It can make or break a film.
admittedly, I think given the distribution of things, what I suspect is we have got a full 7.1 surround sound mix for the theaters, and then they really didn't do much to re-engineer it for the home. That's my suspicion.
Yep.
So I've made it halfway through the film. Honestly speaking, when I watch the rest of it, I will probably be watching it alone because I don't think my family was very... My daughter, Blair did kind of get interested in it. But I'm more than likely going to have to listen with the regular volume off and utilizing my Bluetooth headphones, because once it's just stuck in the stereo, if it comes back that way, okay, then my suspicion about the mix will be confirmed.
And what just tech wise, what's your setup for surround? Is it a 5.1?
That's a great question, Trent. Technically, yes, I do have well, actually, technically, it's a 5.0. There's no subwoofer that's attached to the system. But also, it's not like I've got the world's latest and greatest technology. The house that I own is 20 years old, and the speakers were installed as an option when the house was originally purchased. But then again, you know, that's one of the things that if they're not abused, speakers age very well in a controlled environment.
Yeah, there's a reason why you can still pick up Technics speakers at over retail price.
Yeah,
from 25 years ago, 50 years ago.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I do admit I would like to add a subwoofer to it because of the way the wiring is in the house. There's a great and because of the ridiculous layout of my family room, we have got this large L-shaped but curved couch. So there's this big dead zone between the couch curve and the pony wall, and that's where the wiring for the subwoofer is too.
That would be that would fit perfectly there. And you throw an end table or something right there, and you're good to go.
It's behind the curve. Nobody would even. It can just sit back there. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's no big deal. It's kind of hard to have an end table above your subwoofer, though, because if anybody's putting a drink there, that's going to get a little disruptive of them during, I mean, you know, like that Jurassic Park scene, but like action movie applied. But honestly speaking, just from what I did see, I think the movie it looks like it's at least enjoyable. I mean, I got halfway through it, and I believe I can see certain elements that they're adding to the plot. The only thing you have to buy into, and I don't know if it applies to anything else that they're trying to make canon, because I don't think it was Skull Island, but it was something else, like another King Kong remake that John Goodman was involved in, and they do sample Goodman's voice for like the beginning opening animation sequence where he's referring to, you know, oh, you got to go to that island or something.
Is that the one with Jack Black?
Maybe I don't remember. 'Twas beauty that killed the anyway. So I don't know if they're trying to make any of it canon or trying to apply to it, but you know, there's interesting. The thing you have to buy into is that this is a world that there is just the existence of these. I can't remember what they refer to it, but there are these Titan apex predators that seem to just keep battling one another, right? And so And the thing is that they are drawn to one another as well for battle. So, like this world we come into, they've been keeping Kong isolated in a way because he and Godzilla are like the last two. And then there's also this genetics corporation that's up to something, and they're also trying to travel to the center of the planet because they believe there's this entire subterranean lost world. And you know,
Okay.
I don't want to say anything else, but I have my suspicions about what the bad genetics or cybernetics company is doing, because in the beginning Godzilla attacks it. So I'm just saying, I'm not saying I've seen it. I'm not saying it's confirmed. I don't know anything about it, but I wouldn't be surprised if I suddenly encounter a man-made Mechagodzilla sometime in this film.
So this is so interesting to me, and I'm going to do some research now because it's really piqued my interest. I am a huge fan of the Toho Godzilla properties, whether it be Jet Jaguar or Ultraman or the Godzilla stuff. So it's really interesting to me because Universal owns the King Kong IP, and I believe Toho still owns the Godzilla IP. So I would love to see this amalgamation between the two and where it falls into canon between both universes.
Yeah, I have no idea, and I'm sorry I don't know the full history and all the information. But so far, halfway through the film, I've at least enjoyed it. But I think that's what you don't go into this. You know, this isn't Inception. It's not a thinker of a movie, okay? Everybody's like, I want to see the big lizard and the big monkey go at it. I want to see somebody throwing things. I want to see destruction. I don't know why the girl from Stranger Things is here, but okay, that's interesting, kind of thing. Millie Bobby Brown is in it.
This is pro wrestling of cinema, right? Where you embrace that suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, you have to. You just have to. You need to. It is not the kind of movie you're really supposed to think about. The only thing you hope is they don't drop anything that takes you out of the moment entirely. That's all you're asking for.
Yep, exactly. Just let me embrace these two fighting each other.
Exactly. Because that's all we want. So hopefully I'll be finishing it soon, but I don't know. Because honestly speaking, I got a bunch of work to do after. I really approached us doing the podcast. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take an hour to myself to reset my mind and do this because I got other shit to do, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But you know what I also do need to do, Trent, is I need to thank our supporters on Patreon. And I want to advise everybody that I will be recording some new content for the Patreon this month as well. I want to once again thank Abigail Stewart. Trent, I'm wondering, since this is the first time we have seen anyone go at the crazy $20 level, the NetHead Prime level, I believe is what the tier is called. One of the things that we are going to owe Abigail Stewart, as their screen name is a personal phone call from one of us. And I'm wondering...
yes.
If this is happening because she's into dudes with glasses and beards.
Hey, you know what? I am one who is happily to talk to someone on the phone because I just bought a USB-C headset, not unlike a cheaper version of what I'm wearing now, but it has absolutely changed my tolerance for talking on the phone, to which used to be 0 to now moderate.
I just had this discussion with Denise about that. I'm like, it used to be that his outgoing message is like, yeah, you can leave a message if you want, but I'm not going to leave it. I'm not going to pay attention to it. Text me if you really want to talk to me, kind of thing.
Yeah, because I think I finally pinpointed down. Like, I viscerally hate holding my phone next to my head, and I refuse to do speakerphone. And this has, because I've been doing so many conference calls for work, I was like, okay, I'll give this a try. It's changed a lot for me.
Yeah, as long as you don't have to do this, and you don't have to the Bluetooth's cutting out. No, a nice, good wired headset, good audio. You can't ask for more. So thank you to Abigail Stewart, Eric Welcome, Steve Ashton, Sean Ryan, Ryan Connolly, Zach Stewart and Bryce, Miranda Janelle, Thomas Townley, Sean Ryan, Dan Hadfield, all of you, thank you so much for being our supporters. Special shout out to you here at the end of the show because we appreciate each and every one of you. Yeah, I got stuff to record about like stuff that I've received, more random thoughts. Honestly speaking, I've just been overrun with trying to balance work and work and work. It's been the biggest issue. And you're like, well, shithead, you're sitting here recording a podcast. I need a little me time, okay?
Yeah. This is Will time. This is Will taking care of Will, folks. So thank you for helping out with that.
Yes, it's the only way Will can take care of Will while leaving his pants on. So we thank you very much for joining us today. Really appreciate it. Don't forget, also on the YouTube, check out Devotion Wrestling.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a very familiar sounding announcer on there. The guy is pretty dope and supposedly gonna provide us a color commentary from the which I figure if you can get it done by June 25th, that's like the Christmas, or no, is it Christmas in July? Is that what people always want or refer to?
But that'll actually be good though, because the studio will be a lot more open as we go into the summer semester.
Oh, I can only imagine what you're alluding to.
I mean, his studio will free up for that.
Exactly. So, anyway, guys, don't forget Devotion Wrestling. Go to netheadsonair.com for everything. Follow me on TikTok to find out more about the giveaway crap. Or if you're one of our Patreon supporters, you also get to get first dibs on hearing about it. Although with Patreon, we cannot have a giveaway or allude to a giveaway because that constitutes gambling, which they don't allow, even though it's no purchase necessary. I don't understand, but
yeah, because I would think if you followed sweepstakes rules, you would be okay.
Well, all I know is
their business, whatever.
Yeah, for other stuff, it's going to be a little less complex. Definitely not going to be as drawn out because I was not as diligent, surprisingly enough, with adding like potentials to earn new entries. Although, you know, of those 3,753 people, they generated over 15,000 frickin' entries for that robot. Again, congratulations, Travis, on your win. And thank you very much to each and every one of you listening right now. We greatly appreciate you. Without further ado, time to wrap it up. My name is Will.
And I'm Trent.
And we will be back
soon.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins and Trent Hunsaker. Signing off.
I know, right? But stop being a little Nancy and deal with it.
NetHeads. We'll be back soon.
Goodbye.
This has been a Smodco Internet production. Sip. Only at smodcast.com. I still get thrown. I'm like, wait, what the hell is that? I'm like, oh, that's
why
me.
am I'm not speaking? Why do I hear myself? What's happening?
Why am I speaking when I'm not speaking? I don't understand.
The great Will Wilkins.
Trent, I got to tell you two things. One, Trent, not you, sharing with the audience. One of the things, the interesting things that Trent shared after the show last week. We'll hit on that in a second. But part of the reason why I'm so stressed out is I accidentally bought an iPad. Don't ask how that accidentally happens.
Hey, happens the best.
With the Apple Pencil, and I finally started using digital, like a digital organizer software similar to the old Franklin Planner, and it really, it's made me 100% more effective, but it also made me open my eyes to all the crap I need to get done, which is terrifying.
Right.
Nothing funny or entertaining there for the Stinger, but I do want to say, in relation to the Stinger, last week, you made an amazing revelation about no matter what dog you have now, because we've been doing podcasting together for over 10 years. Share the little anecdote for people.
Yeah, it is. I don't know what it is. And so I'll get into it. Whenever we're wrapping up the show, like whether it's been, Sherman, Michael, Sarah, or now Lurch, the dog pops up and is like, okay, time to go. I know you're wrapping up. And I don't know, it must be something in the way I'm like my body position or the cadence or pitch of my voice or whatever it is, because like right now, you can see him popping in and out right now. Lurch, he's ready to get out of here.
I figured it out. Do you want to know the answer?
Yes.
It's that dance you do during the sip thing.
Shit, I'll bet you're right.
You're goddamn right.
I will, because dogs.
Oh, sorry. Because dogs.
No. No, that's the end. That's it.
No, it's because dogs pick up on stuff like that. It's the same. Anytime I just stand up at my desk, Winston will get up and he'll move to the door because he's like, "Oh, now's the point we do." So I think it's your dance moves. It's your moves and your swagger, my friend. That's the answer.